Do you want to curb stomp servers? Does your dad periodically beat you so you need to take out your rage on others? Do you have 5 consecutive years on unturned? Gentlemen, I have the answer. The Maplestrike. Based on the real-life Colt C782, the Maplestrike is any tryhard's weapon that is guaranteed to depopulate a server within 48 hours of consistent usage. The utter moisture content that is required to even use this gun rivals even the most Korean of Rust players. The gun itself boasts a solid rate of fire, high damage output, and a top-tier range for its class, and a comedically absurd accuracy from the hip, rivaling that of the Eagle Fire and Heartbreaker. The difference of the aforementioned rifles above is that the Maplestrike is not dog shit, with even the most disabled amputee to ever live being able to use this gun well. Because of its phenomenal stats, it attracts the absolute sweatiest and most dedicated users of Unturned conceivable to swarm this gun and use it religiously, pouring all of their experience into these 4 skills and having the playstyle of a massive grubber. Despite Unturned having a near infinite amount of combinations of attachments, sights, and barrels, the Maplestrike users are quote-unquote honor-bound quote-unquote to use the meta, which include the military barrel, the vertical grip, adaptive chambering, and any sight of their choosing. However, the sights are rarely even used, and it's more of an emergency when their third-person combat fails. Now, how to use the Maplestrike is actually quite complex, requiring basic motor functions. You start by right-clicking, pressing H once, followed by WASD, spacebar, and Z obsessively, and then mouse 1, and in that one magic second, the target in front of you is no more. The Maplestrike was only obtainable if you played on PEI, which acted as a containment map for tryhards. Sadly though, when airdrops were added to Unturned, the Maplestrike plague spread to all corners of Unturned maps, from the human-owned Washington to the laggiest parts of Berlin. The only saving grace for the rest of the maps is that the Maplestrike only has a 2.1% chance of spawning, forcing the tryhard to be around the clock and collecting at least an absurd amount of airdrops before he gets his sweet little rifle. If you quiver in fear at the potential of the presence of a Maplestrike on your favorite maps, there are certain things that you can look for with this simple checklist. Check 1. Look at the player list. If you see a player with a comedically absurd reputation, chances are you are dealing with a Maplestrike user. Check number 2 is auditory, with the Maplestrike making the most unique sounds possible, such as the gunfire and the death screen music. If both these criteria were fulfilled, congratulations! The Maplestrike player has trampled all over you, and now you have full permission from him to leave the server. If you want to survive from these beta gremlins from annihilating you at 300 meters, here's the best that I can give to you. Tip number 1, run at night. Even the most caffeine-addicted Maplestrike users have trouble spotting their prey at night. Simply wait until night and run around and do your business. This causes the Maplestrike user to have a dilemma: sacrifice his adaptive chambering for a flashlight so you can see you, or actually use first person for the first time, and use those night vision goggles he's been hoarding in his Alice pack. The latter option is never chosen, and thanks to his poor vision from staring at a block game for 6,000 hours, you can slink away, or even potentially get grubby, take his loot, and make him leave the server eternally coping. Sadly though, the likelihood he has turned up his gamma on his monitor to see your white ass is an absolute, so there's no point in even trying anymore to run at night. So, what's the solution? Well, there's only one. Leave the server and starve his rush of dopamine to find a new one. Maybe. Oh wait, what was the topic? Yeah, the Maplestrike itself. Overall, it's the apex predator of the weapon hierarchy, with everything set to easy mode. This gun is an absolute beast, but the only people who use it are meta whores who play Unturned single player on a multiplayer server. I give the Maplestrike a 7 out of 10 and the seal of tryhard. Now get out there and depopulate the servers so we can get the player count to 0. Together.
So, it was a dark and stormy night. We were sailing across the Atlantic, and all of a sudden, we hear a big rumble and there wasn't any thunder. We all get out of our quarters, and we look, and it's the Kraken! He starts ravaging the ship, but then there was something even scarier. Can you guess what?
What was it, Peter?
A bunch of fucking